Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We are here to break down even more in-depth analysis of Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's new young girlfriend, who have allegedly been dating for 2 years, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, welcome into Ride the Line. I got a question for you. Are you riding?
Oh, I'm riding, Tanner. I'm riding off the best episode that we've had on the new channel. Thank you to everybody that tuned into that last episode. Maybe we have a calling in this TMZ backpage type of news. Maybe we need to get out of sports betting. Maybe that we just need to start gossiping for our careers.
Yeah, the people don't want the picks. The people need the picks, but they also need us to talk about Jordan Hudson. They need it. And that's what we're going to do on the show today. We got some more news breaking on Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Apparently, she likes the old boys, the silver foxes, as they say. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But before we do that, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. Let's take this thing to the moon. Let's keep the momentum going, and let's keep it going all the way up to the top.
Absolutely. Speaking of silver foxes, Tanner, before we get into anything, my girlfriend plucked a silver or gray hair off of my eyebrows the other day, and I've actually noticed I have a couple coming in on the sides now.
Yeah, I have a couple too. It happens, but you could just use just for men.
Is that what you use? Have you dyed your hair at all?
No, I don't dye my hair. What am I? I'm an American. I don't dye my hair. Get out of here.
My girlfriend was saying that she could just get rid of it in an instant. Like she could dye it for me. And I was like, I keep my hair. I mean, my hair is super short on the sides anyway, so I don't think it makes that big of a difference.
You got that mid fade.
I got the what fade?
Mid fade.
Mid fade?
Yeah.
You call my haircut mid, or are you saying it?
No, it's a mid fade. That's what it is. It's like a mid.
Well,
fade.
Technically, I get a skin fade. I get a skin fade.
No, it's halfway up your head.
Oh, I've never referred to it as that, but I thought you were saying my haircut was mid.
No, it looks good. Don't worry. No, I get my haircut at Supercuts. I have this new Russian hair cutter who I've got in the past. Supercuts is like gambling. You never know who you're gonna get when you walk in there. So I got a Russian that can't speak any English, can't speak a lick of English, and she is just not a good hair cutter. I'm sorry. And my hair is so bad. It's like I made a TikTok. And there was a guy on there that said I need to find a Dominican barber in Boston to fix my hair.
Are there any Dominicans in Boston?
I don't know. Maybe. Probably. I don't know.
They're up in New York. I don't know about Boston. No, they're I mean, not to dive into the weeds on this too much, but there are certain groups of people who I think are better at cutting hair than others. And I think you know who they are.
Yeah, definitely. And like the Russian, like nothing against her. She just can't cut hair. She's not good at it. But that's not to say that there's Russians that can't cut hair. There's some that are probably really good at it. Grant, what do you think of my championship shirt?
It's actually nice. I do like the design. It's very clean. You'll appreciate this. I was watching a little 30-minute video. There's a guy, I wish I could give him a shout out because he makes awesome content. Forget his name, but he makes basketball kind of like 20, 30-minute stories almost. It's just very high quality, well produced. And it was basically, I think the title was something to the effect of "This Mistake Cost One Team a Championship." And it was about how the Boston Celtics traded Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry to the Brooklyn Nets. They get all those picks back. They turn the picks into Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And then they, some other great moves along the way. And they end up going on this run. And that, like, they had the championship a decade ago, traded the whole team that won the championship, and because they did that, it won them another championship. It was very cool story, very cool video.
Yeah, shout out to the Boston Celtics, one of many. This is going to be the Bulls, the Jordan Bulls. They're coming. Jason Tatum's coming, Grant. Get ready. Anyways, let's break down the game film here. Jordan Hudson, Grant, since you told me about this, I had no clue she liked the oldies. I had no clue, which gives all these old guys hope out there that there's a stone cold 24-year-old waiting for you. So, Grant, why don't you break it down?
Apparently Jordan Hudson, she's not new to this. She's true to this. She is true to this older man, older boyfriend type of life. And again, I'm not calling her a gold digger. Maybe she just has more life experience than other people her age. And maybe she's more mature because according to her ex-boyfriend, Joshua L. Zuckerman, who I don't know exactly what he does. I know he's a businessman. That's what it says in the article that I referenced. He came out and said she is wise beyond her years. Apparently, they bonded over psychology and philosophy. Sounds a lot to me like how her and Bill Belichick bonded over her logic textbook. But again, she's got a thing for the old guys, and it doesn't have to be gold digging. Maybe she's just more mature than everyone around her. But bottom line is, she likes the retirees or the people that could retire.
Now, do you think her having a former boyfriend who's 64 years old, do you think that shows she is more of a gold digger or less of a gold digger? Like, does she want these guys for the money, or is she just in it because she loves the old dudes?
I think it could go either way. Again, I don't know Jordan Hudson. The natural inclination is just to assume she's in it for the money. She's in it for some sort of financial incentive, at least. And it is what it is. It's unfortunately just, if it's not the case, then my apologies, Jordan, but I kind of got to be proven wrong. I got to be proven otherwise, but I'm just going to believe that that's the case. She wants some money.
Yeah, I agree. But have you seen the pictures of TMZ with her and Bill Belichick, like getting on the boat at the coffee shop? Have you seen them? She looks miserable.
I saw one of them getting off the boat, and I mean, Bill looked like Bill, which is just old and grumpy. And I can't imagine going out fishing with Bill Belichick is something a 24-year-old cheerleader finds a lot of fun in.
No, I mean, she looked like there's only one picture that I've seen her smile, and that's the picture that the selfie they took on the plane. I don't know if that's from the first time they took the picture, like first time they met. Who knows? But she does not look happy. And you know what? At what point is the money worth it, Grant? Like maybe she's just getting tired. They've been dating 2 years. Maybe she's sick of the money.
So I will say Bill might have some competition here from Joshua L. Zuckerman, because how many times, Tanner, how many times do you think you would have gone out and publicly defended your girlfriend, much less one that's in the news dating Bill Belichick? He went out there at 64 years old and he said, this is a direct quote. He said, "I've been getting calls left and right from news stations about my relationship with Jordan Hudson. I have been involved with Jordan platonically and romantically, and I consider her a good friend. I feel bad she's caught up in this whirlwind. I'm a former business owner in the healthcare field. We regularly discuss business, blah, 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 blah. She is wise beyond her years, much more than any 20-something-year-old I've met in my life. The narrative about her character is not fair to her." So it's a pretty profound statement, and it's a real defense of his ex-girlfriend there. So I don't know if Josh Zuckerman wants her back or what's going on here, but he went out there. He put it all on Front Street.
He's trying to smash, Grant. That's what he's doing. That's all he's doing. I
mean, yeah. I feel like most guys have tried to get their ex back after they've broken up at least once before. So maybe this is him doing that. Maybe, the chase that never gets old, even at 64 years old.
There are some pictures here, though, of them just getting coffee in Connecticut just days ago. And she just looks unhappy with her life. And I feel bad. Maybe she's very happy. I don't know. Maybe that's who she is. But apparently now we got more updates to the story, which I don't even know. It's crazy that we're talking about this, but it's something to talk about right now in the time where we don't really have sports. She is going to be a cheerleader again. Like, she's returning to competitive cheerleading now. She was cheering at a high school.
I'm sorry. Are you saying she's returning to cheer at a high school?
No, she was practicing at a high school the other night. Apparently, TMZ did a story on how she's returning to competitive cheerleading eventually.
Does that mean maybe, I was going to say the Patriots, but Bill Belichick doesn't coach there. Maybe her and Bill are a package deal. How about that? Like, how Bill was supposedly going to the Falcons or the Chargers maybe. I know they just made new hires, but, Bill signs a contract. Maybe she goes with him.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, by the way, have you watched Cheerleader on Netflix?
I have not.
No. You got to watch it. It's about the Dallas. It's like Hard Knocks for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
It's the featured. It's the featured. What is it? Movie, TV series. It's featured every time I open up Netflix.
It's like number 3 in America right now, or something. At least it was yesterday. It is Hard Knocks for cheerleaders. When they call, like in Hard Knocks, when they call the guys and they're like, "Hey, bring your playbook. Coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook." They're like, "Coach wants to see you. Bring your pom poms."
That's what they say.
Like they walk in, and the girl. So there was one moment in the show yesterday. They were making their final cuts, and they cut from like 38 down to 36. And the coach goes, or the not even the coach, like the player personnel cheerleader person, whatever. She goes, blank and blank, coach wants to see you. And then they all get together for their like final hug. And the captain goes, it's just a meeting, girls. It's just a meeting. It doesn't mean anything. You could be making the team. And they all know they're getting cut though in the process. It's pretty epic. Cause like these girls I gained a lot of respect for cheerleaders. These girls dedicate their lives to the craft. Like there was one girl in it that moved to Dallas, Texas after she got cut last year and then got cut again. It was crazy. Wild.
Yeah, they put themselves through a lot, and they don't get paid a whole lot either. And like they don't get to fly with the team or anything like that. These people still work other jobs, so it's a commitment. My mom was almost a cheerleader for the Washington. We know what they used to be around that time, but the Washington football franchise.
They're proud, Grant. The Redskins.
Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to say it anymore.
but with the Redskins though, don't the fans want the tribe wants the name back?
So yeah, it's been kind of back and forth there. Recently, I think they've been in support of it. I don't know enough, and I don't want to misquote them, especially about something of this magnitude. But I will say, from what I can gather, as far as fans, people around the organization, some native groups, there does seem to be more support for bringing it back. But I think at the same time, it's a situation where just because the majority might not like it, if there's one group that's seriously offended, then we might as well not push the boundary. And I don't think the new ownership group either, just to put a little business spin on it, I think they want to start a new era. I don't think they want to go back.
Yeah. They're going to change their name again?
I thought they were going to, but I think they would have done it by now. I think they might stick with Commanders and just maybe bring a new logo, not new color scheme in terms of move on from the red and yellow, but different hues and stuff like that, new uniforms. I think that's more likely.
It's so hard to rebrand because then people got to buy your jerseys again. It's hard.
I don't know if I said this on the show, but I went to a Commanders game last year. I went to the home game where they played the Eagles. It was a really good game. I think it was 37-30. But what the enigma I found myself in was I've been a lifelong Washington fan. I'm not going to show up wearing some of the old gear because, again, I don't want to offend anybody. And then ever since they changed the name from, first to the football team and then to the Commanders, A, the logo and stuff has not looked cool enough for me to buy any gear. And B, we've been so bad that I have been afraid to buy a player's jersey because I expect them to leave or we just don't have anybody good enough in the first place. If we do have a good player, I expect them to move on. Like Montez Sweat was my favorite player on the team last year, and he got traded. And, again, maybe it was the right thing to do, but it just proves my point. I didn't know what to do. So I ended up ordering a terrible little $30 hoodie off of Amazon, and I just wore that to the game.
Yeah. Well, life of a Commanders fan. It's not like being a Boston and Tampa Bay sports fan like me that just wins championships.
You're not a Tampa Bay sports. You are a Tom Brady bandwagoner who changed his allegiance after Brady left, after you kicked him out the back door.
Grant, I've won a lot of championships in my time as a fan. Okay. I've won them in multiple cities. I've won them in Boston. I've won them in Tampa. So I've won a lot of championships. So
I saw something the other day. I think it was, I'm pretty sure the timeline was in the time that all of Boston's professional sports franchises have existed. So that's, Celtics, Red Sox, not Boston, but the New England Patriots, and then the Bruins. The recent drought from what was the last Boston championship before the Celtics? Was it the Red Sox?
It was Patriots, I believe, in 19, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, Patriots. I don't know what I'm talking about. That drought of 5 years was, I think, the second longest, again, since all the franchises were established. So Boston only had to wait 5 years between championships, and that was considered an extremely long time. I make jokes about the Celtics for them considering themselves, the best franchise in the NBA when they had only won once since the 80s. But for Boston as a whole, that's just kind of unfair. And it hurts as a DC fan like me.
The Celtics didn't even feel like a championship, though. There was no part of me that was excited about that one because
the finals was not. It just wasn't that exciting.
Everyone knew the Celtics were going to win a championship, pretty much the entire time. And I know there was talks Mavs are going to win, but once the series got started, Celtics are winning this. So it was pretty boring I mean, we did think if the Mavericks could win a game, but they came out super flat. It was just a boring championship. I don't really. It's like not. It doesn't have an asterisk next to it, but they were just so much better than everybody else.
And Jaylen Brown doesn't understand betting odds, apparently, which is surprising because he's apparently an extremely intelligent man. Don't know if you saw, but he posted something on his Instagram after they won. It said that 89% of bets were on the Mavericks to win the series. Here's the thing, Jaylen Brown. I'm not betting $1,000 to win 100 if the Celtics win. I'm just not going to do that. It's called a value proposition, and it doesn't work in your favor. So just because 90% of people were betting the Mavericks to win the series does not mean 90% of people thought they were going to win the series. They just thought there was value.
Well, he could be Jontay Porter, Grant. So it's probably better that he does not know what's going on.
Have you seen what's going on with the latest updates in that?
No.
So they arrested a few other people. I think they arrested 2 people at an airport. One of them had a one-way ticket booked to, I think, Australia, basically trying to flee the country. The 2 others that were involved turned themselves in. But this case is not over. So right now, Jontay is being investigated by the Ontario police. And they have some message of him messaging the 4 other guys who were involved. And he basically said, he didn't say it in these words, but he said basically, if I don't throw this game and help you win this money, you're going to come after me or you're going to hurt me or something like that. I think his exact words were, he won't like it if I don't do this for him. And now they're looking into, okay, is this linked to gang criminal activity? What's the background on that? And then they're still being not prosecuted, but investigated by the American authorities as well. And there's this whole conspiracy going on. There's a lot of stuff that case is not over.
Yeah, I think this is what happened. If I had to listen to what you just said and knowing I'm a big Mafia history fan. So I'm sure Jontay Porter got into gambling trouble and he needed to pay off his debt. So he did it by, throwing his props, going under on his props. But, when you get in trouble, you got to go to the Mafia or somebody and say, hey, can you help me take care of this? And he probably did. And then he was tied to them for life. And then now he had to do exactly what they said. And if he didn't, he was going to get hurt. So bottom line is just don't gamble that much. He had a big enough salary where he shouldn't get into that big of gambling debt.
Yeah, and his brother makes $200 million on this contract. You can just ask him for money. There's a difference between asking your I don't know, your uncle who is on minimum wage, your cousin, whatever, and then asking your brother who's making $200 million. I'm sure he has some money to give you. He can give you $1 million and not think about it.
With that being said, though, Grant, if it was hey, I need $1 million to pay off a bookie because I've been gambling and some of it's been on bat, maybe he just didn't want to bring Michael Porter Jr. into it because
I agree with that. I'm saying don't gamble like that in the first place.
Yeah, don't gamble. Just don't gamble. Gamble for fun.
Gamble responsibly with any of the sports books you can find at WSN.com, Tanner.
Yeah, any of them. I've been hammering some tennis bets. The ATP this morning. Been getting after. I won my first tennis bet today of the day. I've been winning a few of them. Lost more than I've won, but it's fun.
ATP, you're really getting deep into the woods there.
I don't even know what I'm betting on. I'm just throwing numbers down. Anyways, Grant, next story of the day, the Paris Olympics are coming and there's protesters who are protesting the Siene River. The Seine River. Okay. America. It would be pronounced Siene in America, but they're protesting the Seine River because it's too dirty. So they're going to go poop in the river and make it more dirty during the Olympics. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Number one. Number two, people got too much time on their hands.
Everybody's got to poop at some point. My question is, first of all, okay, I have a lot of questions about this actually. How are they collecting the poop? Do you hold a bag under your butt? Do you scoop it into it after you've relieved yourself? Where's the sample coming from?
I don't know. They're probably just going to go maybe swim it. You can't swim in it. Maybe just going to drop it there. I don't know. It's pretty wild.
So they're going to go crouch on the bank and just squat over the river?
Maybe. I mean, if they're already talking about, taking a dump in the river, there's going to be some pretty big demonstrations, I'm sure, at the Olympics, which there always are. There's always demonstrations at the Olympics, but this is a wild one to me because you're just making your problem worse.
Okay. I need to find that quote I had because I thought it was pretty great. So there's a quote from, I don't know if it's the group that's sponsoring it, whatever. There's some website involved in this, and they said they're doing this because after putting us in shit, it's up to them to bathe in our shit. So it's like crabs in a barrel. Like if we can't get out, we're just gonna drag everybody down.
Nobody bathes in it though, do they? Like nobody jumps in the water.
Well, I don't think so, but maybe the water, maybe the drinking water and stuff comes from it, and then it gets purified, obviously. So the poop will get filtered out. But even if you told me my water was filtered, I wouldn't volunteer to drink water that once had poop in it.
No, but like, let's be real. If the river is truly this dirty and they haven't cleaned it yet, you know how many people you need to poop in it to actually like make a dent in a river? Like, think about that. It can't be like 100 people. It needs to be like thousands of people pooping in a river to make a dent.
Well, that's my thing. Like everybody poops, and there's a lot of people in Paris, and you can do it. But this goes back to what I'm saying about collecting it. Is everybody just filling their own Ziploc bag with poop and they go to the river at the same time I don't understand the logistics of it. That's what I want to know.
No, and also too, like if it's truly dirty, I imagine that the septic systems run through it as it is. So there's probably already poop in the river.
I want to know what this does to the Olympics, and to be completely honest, because I would assume Paris's drinking water might come from that. I have no idea. But if the Seine River is at all involved in the water that is used by the Olympians, whether it's for their shower or their drinking water or whatever, if there's thousands of people throwing poop in the river, it is going to do something to the Olympics. I don't know what it's going to do, but something will happen.
I think they'll be ready for it. I think that the Paris cops will be ready to avoid.
You think it'll be like at sports games, you know how they're security on the field? You think they'll just put people around the river?
Maybe when it becomes a full problem, I don't think it's a problem yet until you see how many people actually show up for this. If thousands and thousands of people are showing, like, also, who wants to handle their poop and just throw it in a river? Like, who wants to bring it to the river? Like, that's another, and get in a bag. Like, there's a lot of logistics here. Like, it sounds cool to say, hey, we're going to go shit in the river. But like, also, like when you actually have to, okay, I'm going to bag it. I'm going to walk it over. I'm going to throw it in. Like, there's a lot of logistics here. And it's going to get dirty if you're trying to get it in a bag too.
Yeah. My dog had, I don't know what he had. He had some sort of virus or something. And there was one time where we had to pick his poop up. And if you have dogs, you've handled a pooper scooper or stuff like that before, or you just train them to poop in one area of the yard. But we'd actually pick his poop up and put it in a plastic bag and take it to the veterinary. It was a hassle. I don't want to do that with my own poop.
No, I mean, unless these people care that much about the river, but I don't know. If you care that much, you probably shouldn't try to make it worse. That's my take. That defeats the purpose of protesting, honestly.
I don't know how dirty the Seine River is. I will say I live 15 minutes away from the Potomac River. I'm sure you've heard of the Potomac, even though you're not from the area. And it is disgusting. Like if you jumped in, I would fully expect you to jump back out only as a skeleton. And they've had triathlons and stuff in this area, and they've had to cancel it because the water in the Potomac River did not pass the water purity, whatever cleanliness test. So I feel like I know what this is like, and I can't say the dirtiness of the Potomac River has ever personally affected my life. So more than anything, I also want to understand, what is the big deal? What is the Seine being used for so much that it bothers them to this extent?
They got not enough time on their hands. That's the problem. They got too much time on their hands. If you're going shit in a river, you got too much. You don't have enough in your schedule. You need to fill it out more. Find something.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm reading this article and I figured out why it's a big deal to the Olympics. I guess there's some sort of swimming going on. The rowing that maybe is happening there. But the International Olympic Committee executive, Christophe Dubai, said there are no reasons to doubt the events slated to take place in the Seine will go as planned. We are confident that we will swim in the Seine this summer. So there are some events that are actually taking place in this river.
Probably triathlon. Triathlon's going to be in there potentially. Rowing. But again, if they're building it up, like they're going to have walls and stuff up too. Like this is a non-factor.
Maybe they're going to throw them at the athletes as they swim by.
Yeah, maybe. Grant, did you go to Arizona State?
I did not, but do you like the shirt? It's kind of
big part.
It's kind of cool, right?
It's a big. Where'd you get that?
Where did I get it? I was at the mall over the weekend, and I was basically going for gym shirts. And honestly, I'm probably going to cut this up and make it a gym shirt, but no, this is the first time I'm wearing it. I kind of like it. I like the vintage style because everything these days in sports is all about minimalism. You know, the logos are so simplified and the jerseys aren't cool anymore. Like there was a point in time where, imagine this was a basketball jersey. This is what the front of the basketball jersey would look like. And I miss those days. I think those were better for sports.
My buddy got waitlisted at Arizona State. I gotta look up.
Is your buddy a smart or dumb? Or
you tell me, Grant.
I'm googling the University of Arizona State or
Grant,
not, the Arizona State University.
89.8%.
Acceptance rate.
Acceptance rate's 89%.
The average GPA is 3.5.
All right, so basically, they don't go to school in Arizona. Arizona State's one of the biggest party schools in the country. Let's say that's what we should do. We should talk about the biggest party schools in the country during the summer months.
89.8% acceptance rate is crazy.
No, that is wild.
It's like a free space in bingo. Like if you apply, you're in.
If you don't get into Arizona State, you probably just call it a career. Like I want to know what the 10% what do the 10% of applicants look like that didn't get in?
Is there like a scatter plot where we can look at their GPAs and stuff?
I don't know. We should do that next time. But I was saying that's
why I found one. I literally found a scatter plot of their GPAs. Okay, let's see here. Okay, yeah, it's like pretty much all of the denials are like 2.7 and below. There's some kids below 2.0. There are people who didn't take their SATs. Like those are the type of people that are getting denied.
Yeah, like, hey, I just applied to a school because I had to apply. But if talk about killing confidence. If you don't get into Arizona State, now, granted, like Arizona State, great journalism program, like unbelievable journalism program. Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, that's big time. But like if you're applying probably to just to be a liberal arts major,
aerospace engineer or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's a state school. I'm sure if they have a medical program, it's great. But if you're applying to do history at Arizona State and you don't get in, economics at Arizona State, got some problems there. So
yeah, might be time to hang it up. What we got next on the docket?
We got one more topic really quick here. Don't want to keep the people too long, but we got the WNBA. We had a massive game between the 7-11 Fever and the 6-9 Sky. Caitlin Clark, as you said, set the franchise record for assists. Angel Reese dropped 25 with 16. Big game. Two terrible teams. More rivalry. I don't know.
Yeah, so we were talking before we started recording. I said, another rivalry matchup. Tanner said there is no rivalry here. These teams are terrible. If you look at their record, they're all terrible, but I think they're probably the biggest rivals in the WNBA just because I think the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese rivalry is the biggest rivalry in the WNBA, and it's becoming one of the biggest rivalries in sports.
Stop, Grant, stop.
No, biggest but Tanner, think about okay, what rivalries do we talk about in headlines the most? I'll give you some that come to mind. We think of like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Okay, do Lakers and Celtics, but the Lakers haven't been good enough to really be up there recently. We don't really talk about the NHL like that. We don't really talk about the MLB like that. As far as just rivalries, we've spent a lot of time talking about Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, have we not?
We have, but I think for a rivalry, it needs to last longer than like they had the big game a year ago. They carried into college. Like let's see what it is next year if these two teams are just terrible again. And let's see where the league is at next year before we start saying because I think this matchup of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese was less important than the last one and was less I don't think the first one that happened in the league, it was this big deal. And now they're on two terrible teams and it's kind of it's faded for me. I don't have as much interest in it.
Well, they have also played each other 3 times in the last 3 weeks or last month or something like that. So it is starting to get a little bit watered down. Part of that's because there are only 12 teams in the WNBA. This honestly does go back to what we talked about when the Olympic team came out and Caitlin Clark wasn't on it. And we said, you got to strike while the iron is hot. And I agree with you. I think this last matchup, even though it was the best one, because Angel Reese was great, Caitlin Clark set a franchise record, even though it was the quote unquote best one, it was probably, as you said, the least important, the least watched, I would assume. So they got to find ways to keep prodding at it. And not just them. Again, like you've got great players. You got Brianna Stewart and Ajay Wilson and Jewel Lloyd and Chelsea Gray and all these great players. You got to strike while the iron is hot. You got to find a way to put more fuel on the fire.
Yeah, I mean, you've had Caitlin Clark is the meal ticket. You got to figure out how to put fuel on the fire around her to get it to everyone else. Because like Brianna Stewart's been in the league a long time. Nobody cares. Jewel Lloyd's been in the league a long time. Nobody cares. It's like Caitlin. People care. That's why I can't stand. Like people care about Caitlin Clark. So like, how can you get Caitlin Clark to get people to care about the other people? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Angel Reese. So a couple of interesting parts of this game actually happened after the game. One was Angel Reese's interview on the court. After the game, the reporter asked her some questions and she says, well, I'm just a dog and you can't teach that. Look, you got to be a dog to be a professional athlete. You absolutely do. I don't like the comments considering the last time they played and she and the Sky lost to the Fever. She basically went to the media and said, I guess some people get a special whistle. I don't know. If you're a dog, it's like what we said before. If you're a dog, you got to be the dog at all times. If you're the bad guy, if you're the bully, you got to be the bad guy or the bully at all times. You can't pick and choose. Can't turn it on and turn it off. You got to live that lifestyle 100% of the time.
The tallest girl on the Indiana Fever is Temi.
Is it Aaliyah Boston?
No, Temi Fag-Benley, who's not in. Aaliyah Boston. Okay. Aaliyah Boston's soft. I'm going to say that right now. She's soft. And I'm not trying to take away from what Angel Reese said yesterday, but like the next tallest is Katie Lou, 6'3". There's 6'4" girls, a few 6'3". Katie Lou Samuelson doesn't even play. Like she got worse since she left UConn. I need to see this against like the Las Vegas Aces. Then I'll be.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Aces haven't been amazing this season, terrible, although right? they're still championship favorites.
Yeah, them and New York's good. New York's good. Then the Sun are like below them, a lot below them, and that's everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Lynx right now also only have 3 losses. There's the Liberty are 15-3, and then the Sun and the Lynx are both 13-3. The Aces are only 8-6, but if I was betting today, I would still bet on the Aces to win the championship.
I wouldn't bet on the Sun. I wouldn't. They're not that good. They got beat by the Storm pretty bad yesterday. The Wings, they're a disgrace to the game of basketball. 3-13. I mean, they were.
I didn't even realize they fell below the Mystics. The Mystics are awful. So yeah, if the Wings are in last, that's not good.
I was betting WNBA, and one of the bets yesterday was Wings money line, a little plus 110 action, and that looked good, looked really good, and then they got outscored by 15 points in the third quarter, and then it was done.
The other interesting thing that I said, there was the post-game interview. Then something happened on Twitter as Tanner fixes his lights over there. The Chicago Sky official Twitter account. Do you know what I say if I say the SpongeBob meme where you talk in uppercase and lowercase letters? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, well, it's like you just alternate uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase. It's like you're mocking somebody. So the Chicago Sky official Twitter account did that, and they said, but why do the Chicago Sky hate the Fever? They play too hard. They talk too much. They should have let them win for the sake of, and then it says in regular font, anyways, back to our original programming. We don't care about none of that Sky on top. And I like this because it goes back to what I was saying. You got to stoke the fire. This is they're also poking at the Caitlin Clark fans by doing this because they're kind of mocking. They play too hard. They talk too much. We need Caitlin Clark and the Fever to win because it's good for the game, the sport. I like that they're doing this. They've gotten a lot of backlash online, so that's why I didn't know if you had seen it or not. But it is something I also just want to monitor because I'm interested to see what the public reaction to it is.
I haven't noted what the social media manager for the Sky did, Grant, but that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a professional sports organization. No, you know what I mean? It would be like the Chiefs beating the Bills, and then they say, looks like Josh Allen still can't beat us, like something like that. You know what I mean?
I just think it goes back to that people are losing interest now a little more because the rivalry is just not what it is. Two bad teams, too many times. I think we're getting back to that. Great. You tweeted about beating a bad team. Great. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. And also, I will say Angel Reese complaining about people getting a special whistle in the last game. The Chicago Skies shot 32 free throws in this one, and the Indiana Fever shot 14. So,
the refs were listening a little bit.
Yeah, but Tanner, I think that does it.
That does it. I want to see where Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are next year. Like that's kind of where I'm at with it now. But anyways, that was Ride the Line. Grant, why don't you take us out of here?
Guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. We appreciate everybody that tuned into the last episode, the people that tuned into this episode, and the people that will join us for the next one on Thursday. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. Drop some comments. Let us know. Are you on Team Angel Reese? Are you on Team Caitlin Clark? We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.